They say there's a bus in Beijing, China, one that took its final ride on a cold November night in 1995. Bus number 375. It left Yuanmingyuan bus terminal shortly after midnight and never came back. But what happened to it has become one of the strangest and most terrifying unsolved mysteries in the country's history. The air was ice cold, and a thin mist floated across the quiet streets as the last bus of the night pulled away from the station. The driver, accompanied by his female conductor, began the final route of the night. Only a handful of passengers were aboard, a quiet, uneventful ride, or so they thought. The first to board were a young man traveling alone and a married couple who quietly took seats near the middle. Nothing unusual. Until a few stops later, an elderly woman entered and slowly made her way down the aisle, sitting just a row before the last seat. As the bus cruised down a desolate stretch of road, the driver suddenly slammed the brakes, jarring everyone. Two figures were seen standing in the middle of the street, signaling the bus with eerie slowness. The driver hesitated, but stopped and opened the doors anyway. The figures stepped in, pale faces dressed in ancient, outdated clothing. But something was wrong. What looked like two people was actually three. The middle one, limp, seemingly unconscious, was being carried between them. No one said a word. They shuffled to the very back of the bus. The elderly woman, sitting one row ahead, dared not move. Her hands trembled as she caught glimpses of them in the dark. Their silence, their clothes, their stillness. It all felt wrong. Sensing the rising fear, the conductor leaned in to whisper reassurance to the nearby passengers, brushing off their terror as a misunderstanding. Perhaps these new passengers were actors or performers heading home in costume. Soon after, the married couple pressed the stop button and exited the bus at the next stop. Whether they sensed something or not, they were gone, leaving behind only the young man, the old woman, the conductor, and the driver, and them. She couldn't ignore it anymore. The old woman suddenly stood and screamed, "Thief! This boy stole my purse," grabbing the young man in front of her. Confused and scared, he denied it, but she insisted. She yelled at the driver to stop the bus. Immediately, with no choice, the driver stopped in the middle of the route. The old woman dragged the young man off the bus. As the doors closed behind them and the bus disappeared into the fog, she let go of his arm and said, "That was the only way to save you." The young man was stunned. "Why would you do that?" he asked. The old woman's eyes were wide, full of fear. "Didn't you see?" she whispered. "They weren't breathing. Their feet didn't touch the floor." They stood in silence, watching the bus vanish into the thick fog, swallowed by the night. Neither of them said a word for a long time. The street was silent, too silent. They rushed to the police station that night, recounting every detail. At first, the officers didn't believe them, but something about the woman's trembling voice and the boy's pale face gave them pause. The police agreed to investigate the route, but hours passed. The sun began to rise, and there was still no trace of Bus 375, no radio contact, no sign of the driver or the conductor. 3 days later, Bus 375 was found, submerged in the Miyun Reservoir, far from its usual route. The vehicle was intact, but inside, the bodies of the driver, conductor, and an unknown corpse. The security footage from the last station was gone. Logs were missing. Some officials even claimed there was no record of Bus 375 ever leaving the depot that night. It was like it had vanished from time itself. As rumors spread, fear gripped the public. Passengers avoided the midnight buses. Stories of ghosts and vengeful spirits flooded local papers. The government denied everything, but whispers said otherwise. Bus 375 was permanently removed from the route. No bus would ever bear that number again. But every year, on the night of its disappearance, someone claims to see headlights drifting down the deserted road. Months later, the elderly woman who saved the boy was never seen again. Her apartment was found empty, untouched, as though she had vanished overnight, like a ghost herself. Months later, the elderly woman who saved the boy was never seen again. Her apartment was found empty, untouched, as though she had vanished overnight, like a ghost herself. The young man never spoke of it again. Some say he left the city. Others believe he went mad. But no one knows the truth, except him, and he won't speak. A group of ghost hunters once tried to retrace the route. They never made it back. Their car was found abandoned, equipment scattered across the road like they'd run from something in terror. Some say that bus 375 drove into another realm that night, a place between life and death, a dimension not meant for the living, a place that feeds on fear. Locals claim the conductor's spirit still rides the bus, eternally guiding lost souls down the same haunted route, forever looping through the dead of night. Late at night, some say you can hear the bus brakes screeching in the distance, but when they go to look, nothing. Only silence. Only fog. Urban explorers once tried to follow the exact path of bus 375. Their footage ends abruptly, just static, the last frame showing the bus, waiting. Some say the driver saw something that night, something no human should witness, and that it drove him to madness, or something worse. Every November 14th, someone reports a sighting, a bus appearing where no route exists, always at midnight, always empty, except for one pale passenger waving from the back. They were warned, but curiosity always wins. Every few years, someone boards the wrong bus, and those who do are never seen again. The depot where bus 375 was last parked is now abandoned. Locals avoid it. Doors slam on their own. Lights flicker, and at midnight, the sound of a running engine can be heard, with no driver inside. A conductor's punch card was found on a grave, belonging to the third corpse in the bus. No one knows how it got there. No one wants to know. A survivor once said, "Look into the mirror inside bus 375, and you'll see yourself, but not as you are, as you'll look the moment you die." A phone rang at the depot late one night. The guard answered. All he heard was static and the distant screech of bus brakes. That guard never returned to work. A faded route map was discovered in an archived drawer. It showed a stop that never existed, deep in the woods. And next to it, a warning written in red, "Do not enter." Someone who rode the wrong bus once said, "The passengers don't speak, but if you listen close, they whisper your name." They say if you board bus 375 by mistake, you can never get off, unless someone else willingly takes your place. There's a rumor of a secret deal. If you meet the conductor at exactly midnight and whisper your darkest fear, she might let you go, but she'll keep it forever. So if you ever see an old red bus at midnight, numbered 375, don't wave, don't look inside, just walk away, and whatever you do, don't get on. Somewhere, right now, someone just boarded bus 375. They don't know the truth. They think it's just another ride. But soon, they'll be part of the story too.